What was your name when you were born?
My name was Francina O'Doherty.
When were
I
you
was
born?
born in a small town called Buncrana in the county Donegal
At when?
in March 2nd, 1928.
And what was the name of your parents?
And my father's name was Patrick Hugh O'Doherty, and my mother was Hannah O'Doherty. Her maiden name was McBride.
And your brothers and sisters, how many did you have?
I had two brothers and one sister.
And their names?
John was the oldest, and then was Marie, my sister. Marie Bernadette was my sister, and Willie was my other brother. There were three in our family.
And what was life like in Ireland as a child?
At the time, we were very young, we didn't understand, but things were very bad in Ireland. Things were, it was just right after the war. The war was just about to start, actually, and things were not all that great. And from when I was very young, I always wanted to come to the States, always.
And what was your favorite memory as a child in Ireland?
Oh, being at school and with all my friends and with my family. And we had a very nice family, a very good family, and a very loving family. And our house was always full of people coming in and out and visiting. And I had, my father and mother had very large families, and they were always visiting.
And why did you decide to leave Ireland?
I always wanted to come to the States. I loved the States, and even as a little kid, that was my whole ambition in life, was to go to America and be part of America.
And when did you leave Ireland?
I left Ireland in April the 24th, 1948. I was 20 years old when I left.
And where did you leave? What part of Ireland did you leave in to go to America?
I went to Shannon Airport. My father, my aunt and my uncle left me off at Shannon, and I took Pan American plane to the States.
And what was that like?
Well, we had a stopover. We were supposed to stop over in Gander, but unfortunately they were having a snowstorm, and our plane was having engine trouble, and we had to have a forced landing, and an army cleared a field for us, and we were lucky we got down safe, and we were there for a day and a half. And then we took the plane that evening and we landed in New York at LaGuardia Airport. I had $10 in my pocket, and $5 went towards head tax. So I had $5 left, and I thought I was very rich.
What did you have to go through to come to America? What was the process?
Oh, my aunt and uncle, they sponsored me to the States, and we went through a lawyer in New York.
And so where did you live when you came to the United States?
Well, as soon as I got to the States, the day after I landed, my aunt had a job lined up for me, and I went to work with the DuPonts. They had 3 children, and I was a child's nurse to those 3 children.
For how long?
Well, I stayed a couple of months with them. I just didn't like that type of work, but unfortunately, those times, if you weren't a citizen, you couldn't get any other kind of work, only housework. And so I wanted to get out of that line. And so I worked with several other rich families and took care of their children.
So what was life like in the United States compared to Ireland?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it from the day I landed. It was everything I dreamt of. And but I figured I would get into some other kind of work, and I would do good in this country, and I liked it.
Were you homesick for Ireland?
No, not at the start. No, not at the start at all. I was so busy surviving and trying to get ahead and trying to work and get jobs that I didn't. And my family was, my aunt and uncle were very, very nice to me. They helped me a lot.
Was it hard getting a job because you were Irish or not?
Oh, it was very, very hard, very hard. In fact, it was almost impossible. But you manage.
Did you have to give money back home while you were in the United States?
Oh yes, I always sent money home to my mother.
And how many jobs did you have when you were younger here?
Oh, I had so many jobs I can't remember. I was in and out of them. My aunt said I was coming with a suitcase every day. But I eventually got a very good job at a department store. My brother came over from Ireland and he was drafted as soon as he got here for the Korean War. And he was sent overseas. And so then I had that excuse when I went to look for a job that my brother was in the service, and with good luck I was able to get a nice job at Strawbridge's department store, a beautiful store, one of the largest in Philadelphia. And I stayed there until then. When he came out of the service, we had enough money. He had enough money to go to California, what he always wanted to do, and he sent me a ticket to go to California, and that's how we landed in California. And we lived in Hollywood, and I worked for McKesson and Robbins, the IRS, and Mobil Oil. And they were very good jobs, and I loved them.
How did you meet your husband, and what was his name?
My husband's name was Tom O'Sullivan, and I met him.
What year?
I lived next door to an Irish family from my hometown, the Duffys, and he came over to have a cup of tea. And the minute I saw him, it was love at first sight. I knew that was who I'd been waiting all my life for. And we were married 4 months later.
Before you get married, what was your first date?
Huh?
What was your first date?
Oh, wait a minute. We went to an Irish club. And I met his sister and his niece there, and we had a nice time and met a lot of Irish people. And they had quite a lot of Irish places in Los Angeles and Hollywood. It was very nice.
And what was the funniest date that you've been on with your husband? The funniest date?
The funniest date, he took me up to the cemetery. My first date, he took me up to the cemetery, and he was showing me all the tombstones, and he was so thrilled. We went into the mausoleum, and they were playing music in there, and there was I thought this was awful weird. And I thought, now this, I'm not sure if this is this is going to be love at first sight, but anyway, after that, he was really enthused about up there. First, he was Irish and he was only over from Ireland, and this was all new to him. So after that, then we went out for dinner and everything was fine.
And what part of Ireland was your husband from?
He was from County Kerry. My husband was from County Kerry, a small town called Killorglin, County Kerry.
And how many was in his family?
There was 12 children in his family, and most of them immigrated to England. And he worked in England. When he went to England when he was 14 years old, and then he went back to Ireland, and then from Ireland he came to the States. And he was only shortly in the States when I met him, only about a year in the States when I met him.
And how did he ask you to marry him?
Did he ask me?
Yeah.
Oh, he just asked me if I would get married. I don't remember, sweetheart. He was, we were so in love, I can't remember. And it was the most wonderful thing in my lifetime.
When and where did you marry him?
I married him at St. Brenton's Church in Los Angeles, and Monsignor Fogarty done the service, and a priest from my hometown, Father Tony Doherty, and Father Carl.
What was your favorite memory from your wedding?
Oh, I danced at my wedding, to the surprise of all the guests. So, other than that, it was very, yeah, it was, you know, we were just starting off and we didn't have a lot. And the Monsignor gave us the hall, and we had it catered affair, and it was nice. It was very nice, and the service was beautiful. The service the Monsignor gave us was beautiful.
You lived in several places in the United States. Why did you select to live in San Francisco area?
We came to San Francisco, my husband and I came to San Francisco on our honeymoon, and we loved San Francisco. And so that's why we made it, after we got married and my son was born, my husband decided he wanted to go back to work in England. So we went back to England for a year, and then I got pregnant in England, and little Mikey was born. He came back to the States. Jobs were very, very scarce in England at that time. It was right after the war, and he just couldn't get a good job. He got a job at Jaguar, but didn't pay all that much, and so he thought he'd come back. We love San Francisco. We'll come back to San Francisco and start over, and that's what we did.
And how many children do you have?
I had 2 boys and a girl.
And their names?
Was Thomas Patrick and Michael John and Francina Marie. 3 children.
And what's your favorite memory with your family?
I had so many memories. It's the most wonderful thing ever happened, having a family and having children. You can't imagine that everything was happy. It was a happy family, and my husband was a great father. It couldn't have been better, and I credit most of it to him.
And what's your proudest moment you've had?
Getting married to my husband, and the children being born.
And how many grandchildren do you have and their names?
I have 5 grandchildren, 4 boys and 1 girl.
Their names. The names of your grandchildren. What's the name of your grandchildren?
Oh, Michael, or Shane and Mikey, and then Tom, Patrick, and Marie.
Great. And when you were watching them when they were younger, did you enjoy doing that?
Oh, I love babysitting for them. I babysat for all 5 of them, and every one of them was different.
And what is the funniest moment that you remember?
Being in the store with my daughter, and we tipped against the big display, and the display fell all over the floor. And then my daughter was so embarrassed, she didn't know what to do. She was running in all directions to pretend it wasn't us done it. Yeah, I was. Remember that day?
I do remember that day. And then I had you sniff the Noxie put all over your nose. And you were really mad too.
So many funny things happened to us.
Yeah.
I can't think anything. Oh, I know the funniest thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
Remember the time I had the wig on?
God, this is so funny.
Yeah. And we were up at the front of the church, the side, and the priest was giving the communion started. And so I went to go over to the communion, and there was a step, and it was bigger than I thought, and I went right down, and my wig fell off my hair, flew off my head.
I'll never forget that. Was so
And
funny.
all the mothers from St. Robert's School was all in the front seat. And I just grabbed the wig and ran out the door. And
We never went back to St. Robert's
you
again.
you should know what happened.
We left you outside.
And here I had no hair, and it all up in pins on the side of this wig. I said, I'll never, ever put that stupid wig on again.
We never went to St. Robert's again.
Yeah, they must have got it big. Oh, I must have thought I went nuts.
That
And
was
the
pretty
priest,
funny.
he looked over, he seen the wig going flying up in the air. Yeah, that was, oh, there are a lot of things happened to me.
And what's the funniest thing that ever happened when you were a kid in Ireland? Do you ever find that
Funniest
funny?
Yes, the funniest thing ever happened. When I got out of school one day, I decided I was going to, there's a tree out there, and I was going to put my feet up and hang down.
Yeah.
And I was having a great time, my clothes was all over me. And when I looked up there, the nun was standing. And she said, Francina, and I jumped down and I took off running. Yeah.
Did you get in trouble?
No, she never said a word afterwards. You know, Sister Maliki, she kind of liked me. But, oh, did I get the fright of my life.
And would you say that you're a naughty girl, or you're up to
Oh,
no
I
good?
was a very good, very good.
Did you do any hijinks when you were a kid?
Any what?
Hijinks, get in trouble with your mom and dad? Like getting, get carried away?
Oh, I was in the world. Honey, that was a fun house. That was
Yeah.
a fun house. That was an unusual house.
Yeah.
We raised most of the town in that house. All the kids were always down there. Even over in San Bruno, your dad used to come in, and he would say, "Who's them kids in the refrigerator?" I say, "Oh, them their neighbours' kids. Don't worry about that." I said, "They didn't get any lunch, so they're helping themselves." he would walk on. He was very easygoing. Your dad was a great man.
Oh yeah,
He was fun. He could see fun in everything.
he did. He was a great
Yeah, he
guy.
was a great man. I tell you that couldn't have been better. I was very lucky,
And
Very lucky. My mother must have been praying for me.
and if you wanted kids to a rule to live by, what would you say? What's a rule to live by?
What do you mean rules to live?
Like, what is things to remember when you're growing up? What's the most important value or ethic kids should have when growing up?
Have respect for people
Yeah.
and help people out, and not be selfish and not put material things ahead of other things. Most people today, they put material things ahead of. They get too involved with money. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Very good.
Yeah.
So when you were a child, when you walked to church, tell everyone how far you had to walk.
Oh, we walked 3.5 miles up the hill over Milford. And those days you had to go, when you're going to communion, you had to go fasting. You couldn't eat the night before, 12 o'clock the night before. And the Mass wasn't till about, I think it was about 11 o'clock. And then you had to walk all the way back down. That was 7 miles you walked on a Sunday to church. Now the church is just down at the end of the road. But it was, and as as you say, if it was snowing, rain, hail or snow, you done it. And then everybody, when you're coming back, you always remembered you had family. And everybody was related to you. So you're going for a cup of tea here and a cup of tea there. By the time you got home from church, it was near night time. you made a whole day of going to church.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And was Francina a big or small town?
Francina was a very small town.
And what was the favorite thing you liked about it the most?
Oh, I loved the people. I loved the lifestyle there and the laid-back way, you know. And you know, that was people were all different, and one helped the other. If the one needed help, the other was there for them. They were all, and nearly everyone in that small town was related to us one way or another. They're related through marriage, or they're related through family, you know, because they all had big families, you know. Yeah, it was a great time.
Your dad, how was he as a parent?
Oh, he was great. My father, well, I won't tell you that. He was during the trouble in Ireland. He was very active in that, and he was very active in the town. He built that town just about, and he was very, very smart, very brilliant man, and he got all that. You know, he was ahead of nearly everything that went on in that town. He was head of it, and he was in the ratepayers. He censored the movies. He done all kinds of jobs. He was the head man.
What about your mom?
Oh, my mom was a great, great lady. My father always called her the Lady of the Lodge. They were very much in love, the two of them. Oh, they met going out to church. They were late for church and they were running. And the two of them were running, caught up with each other, and they were running together to get to church in time. And didn't they? Then when they come out of church, they walked home together, and that started their romance, and they got married.
Wow.
That's how they met. Yeah.
Very good.
And my mother was a very nice. Oh, she was a lady. She was a lady. They don't come like those people, you know. And they took care of the whole family. My father had to take care of my mother's family, his own family, and everybody else's family. He was always helping them. Great.
Very good.
Very smart. Very, very smart man.
You lived in the lodge in Moncreta. How was life like that in the lodge?
Oh, life was great in the lodge. It was, the house was over 400 years old, and it was a great house. It was, most people thought it was haunted in the lodge. You don't think it was haunted too, honey?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it was
I
haunted.
thought it was, no, it's
Yeah, but the spirits liked us. But it was,
What was it used for?
it used to be belonging to the British Army, and then it was, when they pulled out of Ireland, the Swan family bought it, and then they moved because they moved to, he ran the electric light, so he had a big house around the shorefront. So he moved out of there, and because the people that owned the house wouldn't sell it to him. And then when my father moved in, they sold it to him. And it was a great house. It was a great house.
And was there a famous prisoner that was there?
No, they always said Wolfe Tone was taken there as a prisoner, but I don't think he was taken there. Yeah.
Were you ever scared staying in the lodge?
Francina, I won't say. No, it was what she used to say happened there.
That's good. What about
Yeah.
any things? Were you ever scared staying there?
We had 3 kitchens in that house.
No. I asked, were you ever scared of anything there?
I only was scared once, honey. I was getting ready to go to a dance, and I was getting to the mirror, And all of a sudden, the place got very cold, like a cold wind sort of thing. And I felt like there was somebody behind me. And I went to talk to them, and I couldn't see them in the mirror. But I was looking into the big mirror, and I tried to talk to them. And my hair started rising up in my head. And I took off out of that room like a chip. And then my aunt, she was telling me that when she was in that same room, she was asleep, and or she wasn't asleep, she was going off to sleep, and she looked out, and who was standing at the side of her bed but my uncle from up the street, Uncle Frank. And he had just died, and she said he was there, and she was scared to death. And she wasn't scared of nothing. She would go to the graveyard at night and think nothing of it. But she was scared in the house. Everybody was scared in the house. Nobody would come there at night.
What room was it that everybody seen the
I
ghost?
had a boyfriend, and after he left me off, he took off running. And I said, what? I said, John, what happened last night? You took off running. I said, I don't know what happened. And he says, you know, only I have to leave you home. I would not come near this house for all the tea and china. He said, this house is haunted.
God.
I said, well, did you see anything here? He says, no, but I felt it. I said, I think you're in love. I think that's what's wrong with you. Yeah, so John, he was an awful nice kid too.
And what room were you in and your aunt in that you had the ghosts? What room was that?
All over the house. Well, that was the back bedroom.
Where Auntie Mari was?
Yeah. Do you remember you come in and you jumped on the bed on top of me? You're like, yeah, you got so scared one night, remember?
That was not
Oh.
a long walk.
Oh.
I know you were scared. I was just in there running.
Yeah. She was scared to death.
I was not. I had a long walk.
I never see yeah, and there's only a small bed too.
Okay.
No, the people have Francina Lyons. She knew you talk to her, she would swear back. She's chased out of the garden one night.
All right.
I would say it would be haunted because you know, a lot of things happened in that house, but they didn't bother me or didn't bother anybody. So, and I think my father kept putting that out too, because people would come to do business with him at 11 and 12 o'clock at night, and he didn't like that, you know.
Not late.
Yeah, it was kind of late because he's working all day.
Yeah. So that put you off.
But so anyway, that was a great house. It was a great house. It was very, yeah. Francina Lyons is and she lived there too. That's why the people of the town, there are two Francina series there, and they were mixed up between me and her.
Yeah.
You know. And they would come to me, and I'd be trying to figure out who is this girl or who is she? I don't think I know. And I'd be waiting till she'd drop a line so I wasn't quite sure who she was. But it was other Francina. She was thinking of Francina Lyons. They couldn't figure out that there were two Francinas raised in the same house. Yeah, she came to live with us when she was 8, and she left when she was over 20.
And do you have good, fond memories of living there?
Oh, I have great memories. That kept me going all my life. We were very happy family, you know. We done a lot, and I worked in the office for quite a few years, about 5 years in the office.
Because your dad was the employment.
He was the manager of the Department of Social Welfare. Yeah.
And anything you want to say before we sign off?
Are you taping this?
Yes, the whole thing.
Oh, honey, I said too much.
Just say any words of wisdom you want to say.
enjoy yourself when you're young.
And one thing that you want everybody to know about you, what is it?
And I was a good person, a good wife, a good mother, and a good person.